offseason.
Yeah.
Still a ways to go.
Yeah.
Still running backs to think about for the draft. Still running backs who could sign or not sign before free agency. It's a loaded free agent class.
It is.
But it's also a draft where, let's just be honest, you can find that guy in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. That's just the reality of the position. What do you do here? You shell out money for a running back that maybe has 2 more years left, 3 if you're lucky.
Right.
Or do you go for the fresh legs right out of college and take a chance?
Well,
Because you have Swift next year.
Yes, you do. And Jamal, we'll wait and see. I'm sure he'll.
They likely re-sign him.
Yeah,
he's the leader
he's
on that
probably
team.
extended. So in that instance, you look at the free agency class this upcoming offseason. You have Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Miles Sanders, Tony Pollard. I mean, there's a lot of dudes in here. But the question is, and the Lions have to answer this question, do you need any of these guys? And I would answer no. You don't. You look at the offensive line the Lions have currently. There's not as much pressure to go get it. Number one, Saquon's going to get re-signed. He's going to stay in New York. Josh Jacobs, they declined his 5th-year option in Las Vegas. I'm expecting them to re-sign him. You never know. It's a lot of money they're going to have to fork up, especially after paying Devontae Adams. I'm not signing Josh Jacobs. Miles Sanders probably going back to Philly. Tony Pollard probably going back to Dallas if they can afford him. The way I want the Lions to approach this is go in the draft and draft a running back, because you look at the guys that are going to be available this year. You look at Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Zach Evans, Zach Charbonnet, Mohamed Ibrahim. Like there's going to be enough talent in this upcoming class to at least take a flyer on a guy. I don't think you need to go out and spend any money on a running back. This defense needs all the help they can get. And even on top of that, to go out and sign a running back for what? Like if you're signing Josh Jacobs,
let's
your
remove
RB1.
the top 4 backs, okay? Let's remove them from eligibility. Okay. Jacobs, Barkley, Sanders, and Pollard. Deal?
Deal.
And then we'll leave Jamal because he's technically already on the team right now. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read off a list of running backs, and I want you to take a guess. Take a stab at it. What do they all have in common? Jeff Wilson, David Montgomery, Raheem Mostert, James Robinson, Kenyon Drake, Damian Harris, Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny.
Those guys weren't taken early in the draft.
Okay, that is one. It's not the one I'm looking for, though. Injury history.
Well, yeah, true. Those guys do
These
get banged
guys
up.
that are notoriously banged up or have off-the-field issues.
But you look at DeAndre Swift. He had the least amount of workload coming out of college, and he's getting banged up. So I guess it really just depends.
It's a position where you're always hurt. And I think what you have to figure out is what is your typical prototype running back in this offense. And it doesn't need to be one player. And I think that's the mistake they made going into this year. It was so heavily on Swift's going to get the 12, 15 carries and 4, 5, 6 receptions.
Right.
Well,
right.
What about Joe Mixon? This is Samaje Perine. They do just fine together. And it's a lot of Perine now because Mixon's hurt. But even throughout the season, Mixon does catch the ball pretty regularly. But so does Perine.
And Mixon can also handle 25, 30 carries. I mean,
that's a bit different, right? Yeah, you want to find the guy that allows you to do not only both, but find specialty guys. You guys remember Theo Riddick? That was about as good as they got. Yes. Reggie Bush, Joique Bell, right? Guys that are polar opposites in run style, but allow you a lot of flexibility. In the NFL, you need to run situationally. You don't need Saquon. No. You don't need Dalvin Cook. You don't need Christian McCaffrey. You don't. You need to be able to run the football situationally. Who won the Super Bowl last year? Who was their running back?
Exactly.
Who were the 4 teams in the title games last year? The Bengals. Joe Mixon. The Chiefs. CEH. The Rams. Darrell Henderson.
Wow. Right.
And then you look at the Niners. They're running back by committee. They don't care who the hell it is.
But
and they got there.
With the 49ers, their offensive line allows them to do that. And I think the Lions, their offensive line allows more flexibility with who you get at running back. I watched Justin Jackson this year have big runs, make big plays. Swift, you expect him earlier in the season. I mean, he played really well, but to sustain that, he hasn't. Jamal Williams has played well behind this offensive line. If anything, that should give Lions fans and Brad Holmes less pressure to go find that. You have the best offensive line, one of the best in football. You don't have to go out and sign any of these premier backs. You just don't, especially how bad your defense is. Go out and draft a running back, develop him, and maybe he's your future starter. But no, you're not spending money on a running back. This offensive line is too good. I watched Craig Reynolds last year get 100 yards. 100 yards, Craig Reynolds, behind this offensive line. I don't want to hear it. You're not signing a running back. That money needs to be pushed elsewhere on the other side of the football on defense. So go out and draft a running back. Now, where you draft them is the question. If there's good enough defensive players available, I wouldn't mind if they just push drafting a running back to the 3rd or 4th round. I don't think you need to take one in the 2nd. Now, if there's someone really good available, maybe you think about it. But no, this defense needs way more help than the running back position for the Detroit Lions. They'll be fine.
Okay, fair. So what do you do? Are you looking in free agency, or are you saying, you know what, we got 6 picks in the first 3 rounds?
You draft one.
We're drafting one. Yeah. Fresh legs, fresh contract, probably late 2nd round, early 3rd.
Yeah, put him on a cheap deal. Yeah, that could be better, outplay his contract. I'm not going out and signing a running back. It's not really how that works anymore. Unless you have a premier back. Like Saquon, I'm sure he'll get re-signed. Josh Jacobs, we'll see. I think that'll be the big one that goes somewhere in free agency. But, yeah, no, you're not giving – what are you going to give, significant money to Kareem Hunt? No, you're not doing that. So, no, go out and draft one.
Let's revisit the 2022 NFL Draft, okay?
Let's do it.
Breece Hall, Isaiah Spiller, Kenneth Walker, Dameon Pierce, James Cook, Brian Robinson, Rashad White, Kyron Williams. He's been pretty good for the Rams.
Rashad White just had a 100-yard game with that offensive line for the Bucs. Where was he drafted?
Brian Robinson, I want to say...
I think it was like the 3rd, 4th...
I could be wrong. I'm not
3rd or 4th round?
I'm not going to take a stab at it. But anyways, beyond the point. It's not just where they were drafted, right? Breece Hall, 2nd round. Kenneth Walker, 2nd round. James Cook, 2nd round. Rashad White, 3rd round. Let's see. Who else we got on this list? These are just to name a few. Brian Robinson, 3rd round. Dameon Pierce, 4th round. Isaiah Spiller, 4th round. Hassan Haskins, 4th round. Tyler Algier, 5th round in Atlanta. He's getting significant snaps and actually doing a pretty good job.
Right.
Ty Chandler for the Vikings, 5th round. Just go draft one.
That's it.
I don't think you need to spend a single dollar outside of, if you're interested on a 1-year deal, you can bring back Jamal Williams. Maybe.
Look at Jamal. You paid him 2 years, $10 million, and he's having a career year. He has more touchdowns than he's ever had in multiple seasons with Green Bay. Like, that should tell you. Like, $5 million for Jamal Williams, I'm cool with that. With this offensive line, don't go out and spend any significant money on anybody. They'll be just fine. Go draft one.
All right.
Go draft one.